up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I go around this amazing planet of ours finding the best humans on it to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So I really like this woman. So we spoke like about a week or so ago. So much fun talking to her. She is so witty and smart. And I am thrilled to welcome Patti Handy here. She's a seasoned financial coach with 2 decades of experience. She's passionate about empowering women. She's here to boost your financial confidence. And we all know we need that, okay? Not only is she a certified executive and life coach, but she's also a published author with 4 books under her belt. Okay. Let's hear for Patti. All right. She holds her real estate broker's license. And for a personal touch, I saw that she's a chocoholic. I'm a salted caramelaholic. I think both together is a good thing. And she loves the beach. And so I want to dive into this with you, Patti. How are you? Welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you, Neena. So great to be here. I appreciate you having me.
I'm so glad you're here too. I have a really cool audience, and what I love about them the most is how interactive they are. So I'm always getting like DMs and emails and comments and all that great stuff, and it makes you feel good as a podcaster when you bring good people on and people are listening and really taking into heart what people are saying. So most of the people that are on my audience are entrepreneurs and leaders in their companies and things like that. So Patti, I want to know who you are, because once we start there, we'll go on our little journey together. So who are you, Patti?
Oh, I am complex and I am simple. I
I
am,
love that.
on a personal note, I'm a mom. I am a daughter, sister, aunt. I'm divorced and I have an amazing son. I'm a, fulfilled, joyful, grateful life that I have.
That's
On
good.
the career front, as you said, I'm a financial coach. I come from being a financial advisor. And then prior to that, I was a mortgage advisor. So I've had many, many years talking with people about money and their discomfort around the conversation about money
Yeah.
and their concerns and fears, especially women. I had a lot of conversations with divorced and widowed women who just felt overwhelmed and fearful of money, which is really what caused me to leave my role as a financial advisor and go into financial coaching, because there was so much more deeper conversation that had to be had with these ladies that couldn't happen as a financial advisor. So very happy I took that leap of faith, and here I am.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy you took that leap of faith too, because what you're saying is real, right? So, a lot of these women who are going through any kind of trauma, whether it's, in a relationship or divorce or whatever have you, it is a very scary thing to navigate. I'm divorced as well. I'm remarried, but I'm divorced. And in my first divorce, it was super tough, and nobody taught us financial literacy, right? Or budgeting or
Right.
anything like that. So, trying to navigate being a single mom of 2 kids, working 14-hour shifts, like all that kind of stuff was so hard. And, fast forward, it's been, 27, 28 years since then, thank God. And I've learned a lot, but I really feel like your voice is needed, Patti. And that's why I wanted you on here, because this is important. And it's something that I feel like most women are afraid of talking about, and especially those who are maybe struggling or have a business and are maybe not making the figures they think they should be making, so there's shame around that,
Yeah.
right? And there's
Yeah.
like there's a lot of layers here, Patti. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that you became a coach as well, because I know as a professional, right, when you're in corporate and you're professional, you got to keep it professional,
Right.
and you can't go down that rabbit hole. But um was this something that was like just something that you saw in your clients and you're like, oh, I just wish I could talk to them a little bit more? Or what was it that clicked in you that said, you know what, I need to do this?
Yeah, great question. So the seed was planted, funny enough, shortly after my divorce. I remember laying laying in a fetal position, completely sobbing. It was shortly after my divorce. My son was 18 months old, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this by myself? And I
Mm-hmm.
was the money person in the family, so I was not concerned about the financial side so much, but I was just overwhelmed of, now I've got to do this by myself, and my son won't have a regular family, and I mean just all the trauma that goes along with the loss. And I had this very strange download. I call it a God wink, and it was, you're going to be okay financially because you know how to manage money. And I thought, well, that is the most random thing ever, because I wasn't really thinking about the financial side.
Mm.
But months later, when I started to come out of the fog and come out from under the darkness, I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to someday turn this around and use this experience and this fear and this time of my life, and somehow use it to serve other women who have gone through this. And I've thought about this off and on for over 2 decades, really. And just I was busy raising my son, making a living, doing life. And I got to the point now where I'm like, no, it's time. And I don't want to have any regrets. It's time for me to just, like I said, take this leap. And you're right. You made a point earlier about the conversations, a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of overwhelm and fear. And there are, so many brilliant women out there doing wonderful things in the world, but just not comfortable when it comes to talking about money, managing
Yeah.
money, investing money. And no fault to theirs. Like you said, there's no financial literacy in schools. We don't learn it at home usually. So how
Mhm.
else are we going to learn it, right? Um,
Right.
so yeah, I mean that's really what's kind of turned my passion into, let's take those words out of the vocabulary. Let's just remove shame and overwhelm, and let's bring this to a simple, understandable conversation. And once I teach the mechanics of money, people usually will go, that's a lot easier than I thought. And that's
Mhm.
usually the
Mhm.
case, because we always fear the unknown. We always fear the uncertainty of things. But once you understand the simplicity of investing, because it really isn't that complicated. I think, people throw around jargon and lingo to make it seem complicated, but it really isn't.
Right. And I'm glad you said that too, because that has been a stigma for me as well, right? Investing. Oh, what is that? Right. Like,
Right,
because
right.
it's not something that I didn't grow up with that. Right. So I grew up in very impoverished. Right. So, our thing was survival, really. It was
Mhm,
mommy trying to survive,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
so a lot of things were, nope, we can't have that. Nope, we can't have this. Nope, we can't do this. Nope, we can't do that. And you're going to work the rest of your life, right, to earn a living, and you're going to die. Like, basically,
yeah,
that's the message, right?
yeah,
And as as I gotten older and taking care of my kids and being a single mom, and then remarrying and all that kind of stuff, I've been homeless. I've lived in shelters. I slept in my car. Like, I've done those things, right?
mm,
And I think what happens too is when you are living in shame, in fear, you don't even really seek out the knowledge. Like, let's be real. There's so many videos on YouTube. There's so many courses you can take. There's coaches as yourself that are out here wanting to help people, right? But we
yeah,
don't. We are so, or the people who have gone through this. At least this was my story. I was very much covered in shame and embarrassment. And so that really didn't, I almost felt like there were blinders. I don't know if you see this a lot with people you're dealing with, but sometimes there's blinders. Like you said, it's not that complicated. We just have to get the knowledge and know what
mhm,
we're doing. But a lot of us are so afraid of what that means, that being sometimes authentic and living in that space where you can acknowledge where you are right now, that doesn't mean you're going to stay there.
right,
And
right,
I think we just stay stuck, right? So
yeah.
when you're talking to women, because you're talking to women that are going through some real things, these are real things, right? You mentioned, I
Absolutely.
think you mentioned divorce, and what else did you mention in the
Uh,
beginning?
I typically work with divorced, widowed, and single women.
Widowed and single, right? So you're dealing with women who are definitely maybe feeling alone and
They're feeling
stuck.
alone,
Yeah.
and they're doing life alone. So they
Yes.
second guess their decisions. They're not sure
Right.
if this is the right choice, that's the right choice. And because they don't have that, spouse to bounce ideas off of. And I can tell you from myself, I mean, I remember just the loneliness and trying to make those decisions. And
Mm,
again, I was the one who did the money, and it was still very isolating. It was very lonely. It was just
yeah.
a very difficult time. And so I get it, and good for you for stepping out of that and coming out of that. And like you said, that's just one chapter of your story. That isn't your life. Your book is
Right.
your one chapter. That's just one aspect of life. And oftentimes when we're in that dark place, we can't see outside of it because we're just so consumed with the sadness. We're consumed with the fear. And I remember, I was there too. So, um, I understand that, and I understand. I can't understand what you felt, but I can understand how I felt when I was feeling alone and
Yeah.
filled with shame and embarrassment and overwhelm and all of those feelings. And it's about giving ourselves grace. It's about giving ourselves
Yes.
self love, and recognizing that you know we are not defined by our net worth. Our self worth is not our net worth. And if we can just step out of that and realize that we are beautiful human beings and that we are here to learn and grow, this is part of the process.
Yeah. I'm glad you're on here too, because I think that another key aspect of working with someone like you, right, that helps people with finances is feeling safe. They need to
Mm,
feel safe, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because if they've been single, divorced, or widowed, they feel alone as it is, right? But then to feel safe where someone won't take advantage of them or hurt them or lead them down the wrong path is also a very it's a real thing. It's a real thing,
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Our
So
fundamental need is safety and security.
yes, right. And as you're talking, that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, these women need to feel safe because I know that when you're going through something, let's say like a little bit like the trauma, like of a divorce or a widow, right, who has lost someone they have been with, their
Sure.
spouse, and this is hard. Single sometimes can be a choice, right? Sometimes can be a choice, but the widow and divorce, there's trauma also involved, and
Yes.
so trusting is super hard. What do you think women who are listening right now? I have a big audience of women who listen, um, if they are listening to what you're saying, what do you think would be the advice that you would give them as their very first thing that they should look at or be aware of in their life?
Very first thing I would recommend is self care. Although the finances are important and getting our state in order is important, and getting all the
Hmm.
paperwork and all the mechanical things in order is important, we can't make good decisions when we're emotionally not well. When our cup is
That's
empty,
good.
when we're still dealing with our trauma, our sadness, our grief, we're not going to make good decisions. And if
Right.
somebody is trying to force you to make a decision, if someone's trying to sell you a financial product or to sell you something that you just don't understand, you don't comprehend, doesn't make sense, don't feel pressured. Absolutely do not feel pressured to invest in something or do something that intuitively doesn't feel right to you.
Yep.
And wait, give it a few months, give it a few, unless it's
Hmm.
absolutely important and you have
Hmm.
to make a decision on a financial side, then reach out to an expert and get some help, one that you trust and know, either through a friend or family. But give it a few months, and get to that place of, okay, now I'm out of this fog, I can think a little bit clearer,
Yeah.
and I am not deep in grief, and so I can start to look at things and process things in a clearer way, that okay, now I can make a decision that is going to be good or bad. And you obviously don't do the bad decisions, but I should say, good from bad. And so don't be in a hurry. Again, the self-care. Once you come out from underneath that fog and you are feeling better, get a handle on where things are right now. Take a look at all
Yeah.
of what you have. Like, start with cash flow. What's coming in? What's going out? How much money is truly coming in? How much money is truly going out? Look at where the holes in the boat are. I call those the leaks in the boat. That's the money that's going out that we don't even realize that we're spending. And
Right.
then take a look at your assets. Do you own a home? How much debt do you have? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have student loans? Do you have car payments? Do you have what is it? So assets and liabilities. You have to look at what you own and what you owe, and the difference is your net worth. So just getting a handle on your current situation oftentimes brings clarity to, okay, now I know where I'm at, and I want to be here by this time, maybe 1 year, 3 years from now, I want to be at this place. And then you can put together a plan
Yeah.
to get from, A to B. And that's the important part. That's the piece that I work with my clients. It's like, okay, let's take a look at where we are and let's make a plan to get you to point B where you want to be.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but again, that shouldn't be done until you've done some self-care and you've really come out of that darkness.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And I think that this happens a lot, at least to a lot of the female entrepreneurs that I have spoken to, like some who have come onto my program, have really gone too much with emotion and
Mhm.
that shiny object syndrome, right?
Mhm.
Sadly, because it's left them feeling discouraged and unable to feel like they can actually do what I feel they are amazing at, right? What their skill sets are. And that's why I had to build the program like you did, right? Like we have to help these women kind of trudge through all of that, right? So I love that you're doing that. So talk to me a little bit about what that looks like, Patti. So this woman has done her self-care. She's out of this fog and she feels like, okay, I really need to get a handle on this, right? So when she comes to see you, what does that look like working with you?
Well, it's very individual and it's very different for everybody. So I had, a gal, a client that I'm working with recently who came to me with a cash flow issue, and she was trying to determine how she can make more money, and she's going through this divorce, and we peeled back the onion. I'll kind of give you the Reader's Digest version. Very high level. She had an opportunity, a very lucrative opportunity that she's been kind of dragging her feet on, and turns out that she had an experience as a young child where whenever she was heard or she spoke up, she was made fun of or she was poked, and so she wasn't comfortable being in the light, if you will, and
Mm,
so we unpack that in a conversation. So although it's not financial per se when it comes to investing and managing money, it was the
it
foundation
affects
for
it.
why things
Yeah.
weren't going the right way. So
Yeah.
we have there's a lot of life coaching involved with what I do. So again, it's very personal. When I do one-on-one coaching with clients, it's really their agenda and what they want help with. If they're in a place where they're feeling good and they just want some help with, how do I look at my assets? Where should I be investing? I can't give legal or financial advice. I'm not an advisor anymore, but I can educate them on the various kinds of funds they can invest in and how to allocate their assets and why they should be looking at this percentage or that percentage based on their age and their risk tolerance. And we go into all that education. So at the end of that, they can make that decision on their own very comfortably. Or if they decide to work with a financial planner, they'll know the right questions to ask. And when they go
Right.
in with that financial advisor meeting, they will feel confident and comfortable in having that conversation, and just feel more empowered to speak to them without feeling like, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I don't understand your jargon. Um, so it's kind of unpacking debt, looking at how to rebuild credit. I mean, it's the gambit of things that we
Oh,
talk
that's
about.
amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very comprehensive.
Yeah, that sounds really great. It also sounds like I know self-care you said was the first step. It also sounds like maybe you also help them unpack that a little bit, right? Because having her recognize that there was something going on from her childhood is self-care to me. Like that is a piece of that, right? So
Right, right,
but I know what you're saying. Like self-care is important for you not to make harsh, rash, quick decisions on something that you don't feel good about, right? But
right.
you're also doing life coaching. That right? Am I
Yeah,
right? Because that's what it
yeah,
sounds like. Okay. So if you're
100%.
doing life coaching as well, I want people to be encouraged by that and not feel like they're coming to you and they have to know all of the answers because you don't. That's what
Oh
you're
no.
saying, Patty,
Oh
right?
no,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is where we work together, and I basically hold their hand through the process of this journey. So wherever they're at is where I meet them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's
That's
it's
really
it's
fantastic.
it's yeah,
That's
it's
really
very.
fantastic.
And you made a good point earlier. That's the self care is absolutely the crucial first point. And then we tie that with our relationship with money and our money story, which is a very
Yeah.
fascinating conversation. And that's a
Yeah.
2-hour conversation, if not more. But it's interwoven with this my client that I was speaking of. The money story and the self care issue. They were woven together. And a lot of it was in her case, it was a lot of that story, those limiting beliefs that she had in her subconscious
Mm-hmm.
mind that were sort of
Mm-hmm.
floating about. And so I help people understand the limiting beliefs that they have going on in their mind, and the the importance of things that we heard in our childhood and how that's playing in our role today,
Yeah.
and the impact it's having on us today. We don't realize that. And that truly is the golden, ticket,
Hmm.
to wealth, because again, the mechanics of money is not hard. Once you kind of understand the basic funds and you invest, you're good. But if you're understanding your relationship with money, if your money story is still off, and you don't, and you have these limiting beliefs that are kind of subconsciously sabotaging you, you will continue to create issues that will be challenging for you. Because in
Right.
reality, 95% of our external reality today is based off of what's going on in our
A
subconscious
hundred
mind.
percent. That is so freaking true. And that's what I tell women too. Like, you're 100% committed to the life you have right now. You're 100% committed. And they're like, no, I'm not. No, you are, because that's the life you have right now. Right. So in order to change, you have to be willing to step out a little bit of your comfort zone. Right. Otherwise, you are exactly where you want to be, because that's where you are. And a lot of people are like, damn, Neena, but the truth is that but that's true. I mean, and I talk to myself that way too. Don't think
Sure,
I'm just like talking to women that way. I talk
sure.
to myself that way too. I'm like, Neen, if you're stuck here, you're committed to being stuck, because you need to stop being stuck, shift your vision, shift
Yeah.
your mindset, and find out what's going on here. What's at play. Like, for a very long time, Patty, I had this really negative view of rich people, right? Being born
Mm,
and raised impoverished, right?
mm,
So, and I'm like, and I when I started to shift that, I started to say, okay, so I don't have, because I constantly reject, right? And when you reject rich people, if you will, right? Or rich, the concept of what you think rich people are, you
mhm.
also will reject money. I feel that way.
Oh,
I feel like
100%.
you'll sabotage yourself, because you don't want to be
Right,
selfish, greedy, whatever that stupid
right.
story is that we're telling ourselves,
Yeah, you
that's what
nailed
I'm
it.
hearing you say. Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
absolutely nailed it. And if you think that rich people are greedy and they're evil and whatnot, and you have this negative connotation towards rich people or thought about them, you will stay in that place of
Yep,
being, where you are. And
exactly.
yes, so reframing that, and unpacking that is really crucial. And I always say that um, money makes you more of what you already are. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
if you're a jackass, you're going to be a bigger jackass if you
Yep.
have more money. But if you're a
Mm-hmm.
loving, caring, generous person, more money will just give you the ability to give you, have more um, love, giving,
Yeah.
charitable. So um, yeah, yeah. Are there rich people who are idiots? Absolutely. Are there
Right.
poor
Yeah.
people who are idiots? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And when I started to shift my mindset, that's what I realized, Patty. I really realized I call it stinking thinking, my stinking thinking.
Yeah.
It was just bad. And you know what happened? And I want you guys who are listening to listen up. Honestly, when you shift your mind, you shift your energy, you shift your the way you're seeing things. I call it mind flow, not mindset, because I feel like we
Mm,
need to grow with our mind, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
when I started shifting my mindset, that's when I hit six figures. That's when I was in the room with billionaires. And I'm serious. And I started to realize how kind, how giving, how philanthropic
Yes.
they are for real. And everything changed for me. My whole mind just went, what?
Yeah.
Like, no wonder I was working 15-hour shifts. No wonder I was busting my tail. No wonder I didn't have, even though I worked so hard. My stinking thinking was holding me back. But I didn't know that, Patty, because nobody taught me that, right?
Yeah.
It's about 20 years ago or so when I started to go down that, personal development rabbit hole
Mhm,
that everybody
mhm.
goes through. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
start to realize how really your programming from when you were a child runs your life, and not in a good way a lot of times,
Yeah. More
so
more
I'm
times than
glad you're
not,
doing that.
yeah, more times than not, it's not in a good place. More times
Yeah,
than not, it's
more
working
time,
against
that's
you.
true.
And
Yeah.
so it starts with awareness, and it starts
Yep.
with understanding, where you are today, and again, poking the hole, like, okay, that is not true. That's not reality. That's a false statement. Those limiting beliefs are not true. And then
Mhm.
we unlearn it and we reprogram. And I want our listeners to understand that this takes time. You've had
Yes.
decades, you've
Thank
had
you.
decades
Yep.
of this, programming, and you're not going to, all of a sudden wake up and go, okay, I'm going to be positive and everything is beautiful and money flows to me easily. And then, a week later, you're like, wait a minute, I'm still stuck. Well, no, it takes
Yeah.
time. This is a work in progress. And I mean, I'm still a work in progress. We all are a work in
We all
progress.
are.
And it
Exactly.
just, yeah, we have to, again, give ourselves grace as we navigate this journey. But it starts with that awareness and going, you know what, this is bull. This is not true. And I always start with, write down, get a journal out and write down all the stuff you heard as a kid.
Yep.
Write down some of the things that you heard that you think are playing in your subconscious mind, because if you don't get through this, you will subconsciously sabotage yourself. And that's why you
All the
see lotto
time.
winners.
Yep.
75% of the lotto winners go through their money in a very short period of time, because they don't have this thermostat that we have in our body,
Yeah.
in our mind, and the understanding to reach out to a financial professional. And there's so many nuances to that. But yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, another 2-hour conversation. But we do, when I do coaching and in the masting or the Minding Her Money program, there's a lot of conversation with regards to that piece, which is truly the foundation. You can't build a good house on a weak foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talk us through that a little bit. What is your program? How long is it? What does it look like? All of that. Give us that.
So there's two ways that people can work with me. One way is one-on-one coaching, where we just, again, deal with their agenda. I meet them where they're at, and we just work through whatever issues that they're working with. I also have an online course. It's called Minding Her Money. It is a self-study, self-paced course. You take it at home when you want, whenever you want. It's a gambit of videos that covers 9 different aspects of our life, from the self-care to the money story, getting organized, rebuilding credit, dealing with debt.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. That is awesome.
there's investing conversations in 2 of the modules. I go into some tax strategies that are a little bit more complicated, but I simplify it in simple terms. And the shortest video is like 8 minutes. The longest is like 30 minutes. I kept them short
Oh,
on
wow.
purpose. They're not long, lengthy, boring, godforsaken videos that you've got to watch. They're super powerful, super, packed full of information. So it's for you to watch, whenever you want. 2 in the morning, if you want to watch them, that's when you get to watch it. So
I love that though. I love that you're giving different options, right? Because it's also great for people who want to take a self-led course to get into your ecosystem, to know a little bit more about you, how you teach, what you're about. Because I will encourage people though to reach out to Patti though. And the reason I say that is because sometimes we take the safe route. And the safe route is to do a self-led course, which is great, right? But I also feel like we need to push ourselves a bit, Patti, right? So
yeah.
take the self-led course if that's what they want to learn more about you, but they should really reach out to you. So that's just my opinion.
I agree
Yeah.
100%. And most of the clients do both. They'll do one-on-one, and then they'll get a discount on buying the Minding Her Money course. Yeah, definitely is a great option. And I do offer a couple things complimentary. One is a 30-minute discovery call with me, where we have a conversation and we just kind of unpack what's going on in your life, and we determine if it's a fit for them. And they can book that on my website. And I also offer a free ebook. It's called Women Soaring Solo. It's a women's guide to
I
financial
love that.
stability. And that you can get at, the website is on the homepage there, and you can also get it at mindinghermoney.com. So there's 2 places to grab the ebook.
Okay, what's your website?
It's simply my name. It's pattihandy.com, pattihandy.com.
Good. Okay, great. So then they can reach you through pattyhandy.com and Minding Her Money, you said? Mindinghermoney.com?
Minding Her Money is where they can download the free ebook, but the
Okay.
free ebook is also on the homepage of my website. And then if they go to my contact page, they can book that free discovery call.
That's awesome. I'm really glad you came on, Patti. I really
Thank
like you.
you.
I like your energy. I like what you're about. I like how
Thank
you're
you.
helping women. This is so freaking cool. Thank you for coming on Straight Talk and talking to my audience. I'm truly grateful, seriously. And for you who are guys out there saying, oh man, this is for women. Yes, it's for women, but you all know a woman. So go ahead and make sure that you send this also to any women that you know that may need this help, right? Because I personally think even if you know some stuff, why not learn more? Why not
Right.
learn more, right? So, Patty, thank you for being here. I'm grateful. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you a
Well,
lot. Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Thank you, Nina. It's been a blast being here. So thank you for sharing.
I'm so glad. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. And you know what? Please reach out to Patty. Make sure that you follow her. Go onto her website. Check everything else out. Check out her program, the whole thing, because you need to mind your money. You need to mind your money. And I really feel strongly about Patty helping you in this area. You've seen her expertise. You know what she can do. So make sure you guys reach out and do what you got to do to get your stuff right, because you're not alone out here. You are not alone. Thank you guys for being here. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.